Max, great to have you on the show.
Hey BP, how you going, mate?
Yeah, going well. How many days have you got left? You look like you're about to climb up the walls, out the ceiling. You just, yeah, I mean, look, we can all complain in these sort of situations. There's people always
Yeah.
doing it worse in the world, but quarantining's no fun for anyone.
No, I get out Thursday morning. Nathan, we got a flight 9:50 Thursday morning back to Sydney. So yeah, I'm getting through it. The days are a little long once it gets to after lunch, getting through to dinner when I got nothing to do. But other than that, I'm fine.
Hey, just on that question that Greg posed, I mean, you've been away for about, I think, 4 months, but I mean, generally Australian tennis players spend longer stretches on the road overseas than other countries who can zip home to the States or Europe. What sort of support is on the road in regard to the Australian players?
It has been about 5.5 months, I think. But we this year not a whole lot of support. Craig's given us some options, I guess, at some bases and whatnot. But realistically, it's a little easier just to try and contact other players and kind of ask where they're training and trying to set up things that way. But it is pretty hard to offer support from an Australian standpoint, because if you want to send anyone over, it's an expensive gig. But I guess my support was I had a little bit of funding from the start of this year, and then the wild card, which helped me bring Nath over.
Yeah, because obviously at the start, and I suppose you can probably explain the difference of having your coach, Nathan Healy, on the road as opposed to doing it sort of remotely with him. Take us inside just the value of being able to have him there with you face to face and in that environment, not only, practicing, competing, but also away from that as opposed to not having him there.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I was a little nervous about it at the start of the year when I had to leave. That's why we kind of talked about the whole playing as much doubles at the bigger tournaments so I can get a lot of singles practice with the top guys. But yeah, because we felt like going away with no coach, if you did start the Challenger singles grind again, and knowing that you're going to be away for a while and you have some losses in a row to start, you can't really. Where do you go? You can't. There's no working with your coach after a match or taking a week off with your coach to go practice. There's nothing like that to do. There's really no specifics. So I was lucky that when I was playing singles, I actually started doing really well. So there wasn't a whole lot where I felt like, damn, I need Nathan here. But then when he got there, the extra work we do off the court, the mental side of things, it just made it a whole lot easier. And I was really just worried and stress free, and I started playing some of my best tennis.
Yeah, I'll ask you about the off-court stuff because it's interesting. I know Nathan's whole coaching philosophy and the play awake setup that he's surrounded you with to allow you to be the best competitor that you can. But look, for those that haven't followed your journey, I mean, we certainly here on the First Serve, follow every player, and we've seen you rise up through the ITS, the challenges, and I suppose for people who are going along to the Australian Open. Go back to last year when you and Luke made the doubles final. They're seeing this name, Max Purcell, and thinking, okay, well, I better find out a little bit more about this guy. And he's made the doubles final, and that's when you sort of, I suppose, were on a bigger stage. And then this year, what you've been able to do in singles, as you mentioned. So you go away 3 months after the Australian Open, and you get to the grass of Eastbourne, and you have a week that maybe you couldn't have even expected possibly at that stage. You beat a guy, Kevin Anderson, a two-time Grand Slam finalist in qualies. You beat James Duckworth, who's had a very good year. You beat Gael Monfils, and we know his tennis resume. Just take us to that week and what that did for you as a singles player.
Yeah, Nathan and I do a lot of mental work about getting rid of any beliefs we have. So I guess from the work we'd done, the mental side of any beliefs that I feel like that were holding me back, we kind of just get rid of those, and it eases a lot of mental stress. And then from all the training that we'd been doing as well, I was just getting really confident in where my game was at, and I was kind of feeling not if, but when. And I guess rocking up there to play doubles with Luke, getting an alternate spot into the qualifying, then a lucky loser spot into the main draw. I just kept kind of running with it. Grass for sure is my favourite surface, and Nathan and I do a lot of net work and volley work, and slice work. So I don't know, it's felt really comfortable out there, and I'm since training with and playing doubles at the tour events before and hitting with a lot of the top singles player, I just kind of felt like each practice session, I was belonging with these guys a lot more. So I went out there thinking this is no different to a practice session. I've been beating a lot of these guys in practice sets, so why not beat them in a match? And yeah, I did that, and then the year's just gone upwards from there.
No doubt. You then go on to New Sultan, win the Challenger there, and then a phone call comes and, hey, Max, you pack your bags, you're coming to Tokyo to the Olympics.
Yeah.
How was that phone call? I mean, that's an incredible thing to get. I mean, I've done a lot of work with Sam Groth on this show, who got a very last-minute call up to Rio back in 2016, and most athletes have a 4-year period where they're building up to an Olympic Games.
Yeah, it was a hard one. I got kind of called after my quarterfinals match in Nur Sultan, and I was at that point. It's pretty hard to climb the rankings at the moment, so I really wanted to do everything I could to get into US Open qualies.
Yep.
So I was, it's back and forth with Jamin, like, when do I have to decide by? Because I really don't want to miss the Olympics, but I really also don't want to miss the US Open qualifying because, from what happened at Eastbourne, I was like, who knows what can happen at a Grand Slam. And I won my quarterfinal match. Screw it, let's go, let's play the Olympics. I've always wanted to ever since I was a little kid. And then I go there for doubles and then end up, last minute getting a call up to play singles when Andy pulled out.
Yep.
Another biggest win of my career. And then, I guess a couple more wins later, and I didn't have to worry about qualities for the US Open at all. I got given the main draw wildcard.
Yeah, and
it all worked out.
And that biggest win was against Felix Auger-Aliassime, and he's obviously had a fantastic year and, closing in on the top 10 and been a star junior. Just take us back to that day when you're in Olympic colours. It's, I suppose, in a lot of ways, it's an odd Olympics with no crowds and such a different buzz. But I imagine, and I spoke to Jamin Crabb the week before, that when everyone was in the player village, that once you're in that little bubble, regardless of what was going on outside and no crowds in the stands, it was just the thrill of being an Olympian took over any of that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, tennis lacks a lot of that team environment stuff, being an individual sport. So getting over there and not having to compete for the first, 5 days was really special, and just getting that whole team environment was really exciting. But yeah, I rocked up that day knowing that I was I guess it was the second day, so knowing I was the first alternate out essentially, but I was like, who's going to pull out, right? So I'm there. I've got a couple of extra shirts and shorts. I know I've got doubles later with Piercy, and then I'm just getting off the bus when we get in there, and Crabby calls me saying yeah, man, you're in. So I'm in what? And I'm in doubles there. I'm like, yeah, like what? Like, Andy's pulled out, you're in. And I had to call up Piercy to get him to bring more gear over for me, and had a couple of hours to prepare, and then.
Yep.
Yeah, going out on centre court there, and there's no crowd, but it's a big court and against a big player, and I felt really comfortable, and it was a really good match.
So then on to the US Open, you take a set off Jannik Sinner, and we know he's just had an amazing 2 or 3 years and going to be a star of the game. Mixed doubles semi-quarterfinal with Matty Ebden in the doubles, and then you finished off making a final in Columbus at Challenger level. You then pulled out of Indian Wells qualies and you decided to come home. But just before we get to that, I mean, the US Open across those three, just that match against Sinner, I mean, he's obviously had an incredible period, as I mentioned. Take us back to your recollections of that and grabbing that set off Jannik.
Yeah, first 2 sets, I just tried to kind of play how I had been playing, and he was far too good from the back. And I kind of just looked at Nathan. We both just knew, I'm not going to beat this guy from the back. Let's change it up. And I hadn't serve and volleyed a lot in matches before. I'd done it 1 every 3, 1 every 4 points. Look to get to the net when I can, and I feel good up there. But serve and volleying, returning, chip and charging, pretty foreign to me to do every point. And then I just thought, let's just do that. Let's see how we go. And I managed to find a spot where Jannik didn't really do anything with a certain return, and got a little lead in that set. Won the third set doing that. It was a bit unlucky at the start of the fourth, not to break him, to get up another early break in the fourth as well. But from that one, I guess, set of just knowing geez, guy's an unreal returner. I've managed to find a spot where I can serve volley and win a set. And I just grew confidence for the rest of the trip. I started serve volleying off almost everything my next 2 tournaments, and and just felt so comfortable at the net, like not looking for a serve and volley with an easy volley, just looking for any kind of first volley that I'd be able to do something with, and it was huge for me.
Yeah, really noticeable. I watched a lot of the matches at the Columbus Challenger, and certainly you could see that change. And the decision to come home now, and obviously a lot of the Aussies are having to make the call: do I stay at right towards the end of the season? And there's the risk that I maybe miss out on a flight or two because it is difficult to get back to Australia. What's the thought process to come back now?
Well, originally the plan was to finish at Indian Wells anyway, so we weren't going to miss out on too much. And I thought, we finished on a high note, and I kind of leave Nathan up to making the decisions. I leave him in control of what we should do with my career. And we had such a good 9-10 week training block before I left at the start of the year, so we thought, why not like try and do that again, have another good 8-9 week training block before trying to hit Doha or Melbourne, whichever one, hard next year when everyone else is potentially coming back tired at the end of the year, or all these other guys from overseas are going to be annoyed going in the bubble and whatnot. So I think it was just a decision. We played a lot of tennis back half of this year with singles, but very rarely do you get these extended training blocks, and we were like, let's try and make the most of that.
And from here, I don't know if you heard what Nathan said. I won't maybe say it to you, what he said on this show about 8 to 10 weeks ago, what you could become, because, sometimes you can get too far ahead of yourself in this game. But I imagine, and I look at your game and I think, well, there's massive upside. I mean, right now in the live rankings, you're sitting at 175, and we know that can be whittled down pretty quickly with some really, really good results. I mean, do you feel like now that you really belong and that this is just the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. With the whole COVID rankings as well, it's kind of screwed up a lot of things. So I think realistically I should be closer to that 140 mark and a lot closer to that top 100 mark as well as points. But hopefully that kind of fizzles out next year where I get more of a chance to play for that. But yeah, sure, the top 100 feels within really close reach, and I feel like my game's only gotten better in the last year, 2 years, 2.5 years, and we still feel like we have a lot to work on. And I'm not exactly the biggest guy out there, so a lot of physicality I can work on as well, and again, more mental work. So we're always trying to get a little bit better every time we go on court, or every time we really do anything every day. So yeah, I'm hoping for a really big next year, but again, I'm not putting any pressure on myself because, like you said as well, like a few big results can get you there anyway. So I'm not going to put a timeline on it, and hopefully it just kind of happens. Just
this play-awake theory, so a holistic approach to sport. I mean, Nathan has, I suppose, spoken about it on this show and to me off-air, but just give us your take as the person who's living and breathing it, to have the full package, mentally, physically, to be able to go out there and do what you do best. Just give us a little insight into that whole theory.
Yeah, he likes to say he's a bit of a life coach, does Nathan? A little bit of a mentor, like life mentor. Because, a tennis relationship with a coach. I mean, if it's purely on-court stuff, I can't imagine it being any fun, right? So, we kind of bring everything into it. He's like my best mate, my life coach, my tennis coach, and I guess since being with him, we've just brought so much more enjoyment into the game, which is taking all the pressure off myself, and taking away all the beliefs for why anything that I feel is holding me back, or anything that he might think is holding me back. We just do our work, I guess, on it is what he calls it, and just anything we do work on, and it opens you up to just whatever happens, and you can't change it, and it's for you. So we just find the positives out of everything, and it's really relaxing, and sense of relief, I guess, and it's great listening to him because he's got such a happy life and everything. So it rubs off of me, and we care about being better tennis players, but better humans as well. And it's really nice, a really nice way of going about being a coach.
Well, you're making a great team, there's no doubt. Max, great to chat to you. We could chat for hours and hours. Love to get you back on the show at some stage. Good luck getting out of quarantine, doing a nice block and gearing up for a massive 2022. It's been a real thrill to actually watch you grow and progress, and your brand of tennis has been refreshing this year. So good luck on the continued journey.
Thanks, BP. Cheers, mate.
Good on you, Max. Max Purcell.